I used to believe I deserved better than my husband. Not in a dramatic movie-style way, but in that quiet, poisonous way that creeps into your thoughts and slowly reshapes how you treat someone. My name is Lauren. I'm 35 years old, and for the longest time, I was convinced I had settled. Now, every night, I lie awake staring at the ceiling, realizing I was the one who didn't measure up. I met my husband, Daniel, 8 years ago. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He didn't try to impress anyone. He was steady, reliable. The kind of man who showed up on time, paid the bills, remembered birthdays, and fixed things without being asked. At first, that felt comforting. Safe. But somewhere along the way, safe started to feel boring, and boring turned into resentment. I watched other women post their lives online. Trips, surprises, grand gestures. Men who looked confident and dominant. Men who took charge. And slowly, without ever saying it out loud, I began comparing. Daniel didn't look like those men. He didn't talk like them. He didn't make me feel chosen in that dramatic, heart-racing way anymore. I told myself I had outgrown him. It started small. Little comments. Jokes that weren't really jokes. When friends asked what he did, I'd answer with a shrug instead of pride. When he tried to help, I'd redo it afterward. When he spoke, I'd interrupt. I didn't scream or insult him outright. I did something worse. I made him feel invisible. The night everything changed wasn't some explosive argument. It was quiet. Almost ordinary. We were at dinner with another couple, and the conversation turned to ambition, careers, goals. Someone asked Daniel if he ever thought about aiming higher. Before he could answer, I laughed and said, "He's comfortable where he is. Some people just don't need more." Everyone chuckled politely. Daniel smiled too. But I noticed it didn't reach his eyes. On the drive home, he didn't bring it up. He never did, actually. That was his way. He absorbed things, stored them away. I mistook that for weakness. I thought if something really bothered him, he'd say it. I didn't realize he was quietly keeping score. Over the next few weeks, I pushed harder. I talked about what I deserved. I said things like, "I just want more out of life," always careful not to say his name but always making sure he knew who I meant. When he asked if something was wrong, I told him he was being sensitive. I told him he was overthinking. I told him I loved him, but love doesn't mean much when respect is gone. One morning, I woke up and his side of the bed was empty. Not just empty but untouched. No indentation. No warmth. I assumed he had left early for work. But when I went into the kitchen, there was an envelope on the counter with my name on it. Inside was a short note. No accusations. No anger. Just a few sentences saying he needed space, that he had realized he wasn't happy, and that he didn't feel valued anymore. I laughed at first. Actually laughed. I thought it was a tactic. A cooling off period. I was sure he'd come back once he realized how hard life would be without me. Days passed. Then weeks. He stopped responding to my messages. When I called, it went to voicemail. When I showed up at his office, I was told he no longer worked there. That's when the panic set in. I reached out to mutual friends, expecting sympathy. Instead, I got silence. One of them finally told me the truth. Daniel had been planning his exit for months. He didn't leave impulsively. He prepared. He saved. He found a new job. He waited until he was emotionally done. Hearing that hurt more than yelling ever could have. Now, I sit alone in the apartment I once complained was too small for my potential. The silence is unbearable. There's no one to ask how my day was. No one to quietly make coffee in the morning. No one to listen. I replay every moment I dismissed him. Every time I chose my ego over kindness. Every time I told myself I deserved better without ever asking if I was being better. The cruelest part is this. Daniel didn't leave me for someone else. He didn't betray me. He didn't punish me. He simply chose peace. And I'm left with the echo of my own words, realizing too late that the man I thought was holding me back was actually the one holding everything together. I thought I deserved better than my husband. Now, I cry myself to sleep knowing I was the one who lost something rare, and I may never get it back.